Boom, bam, bam. President Chad is in the building. Manchester United 2, Burnley 2. We're going to talk a little bit about the game because, well, just had a game, so we had to talk about it. But really, actually, we have a lot of other things we want to talk about in this program because there is so much going on with Manchester United right now. So, um, in my opinion, that game was Darren Fletcher making it very clear to Wilcox and company that he should not be in the running for the permanent job at Manchester United. That, in a nutshell, that's what that game was. Because if ever there was an opportunity for you to show yourself as capable as being in the runnings to be Manchester United permanent manager or even caretaker until the end of the season, it was this game. And you didn't show up. Right? If Manchester United came out there and we thumped Burnley, we thumped them up and we scored 3, 4 goals, they could say, hey, Fletcher getting this team running, maybe something could happen. But that was not the case. All right, so Darren Fletcher made it clear that he is definitely not the man as far as Manchester United goes into the near future, in my opinion. Standouts for the game. Who were the standouts for the game? You talk to me in the comments. Tell me in the comments who you thought were the standouts for the game. Let me bring on the inside the man Zahir Abbas and the man Jason Bourne. Well, not Jason Bourne, but Jay Bourne. Right? Gentlemen, we want to be quick. Let me give Jay some time to organize his camera and stuff. Talk to me in as short as you can make it. What do you thought about the game just now?
And positives, happy to see Sesko get 2 goals. Right? It's been coming for weeks. We've been waiting for him to come good. He looked a little better with his overall movement and the spaces he was picking up today. Extremely happy to see our 3 midfielders back in action, Bruno, Mason, and Kobe. Right? We needed back our injured players. We've gotten 3 of them back. That bodes well moving forward, given that the next 2 games are Manchester City and Arsenal, I believe. So we need to have a stronger possible squad that we can have. Other than that, I think we had more than enough shots and chances to win the game. Right? I would have preferred very much a win. The draw does not feel as positive as others might think it is. Right? Because I really wanted the 3 points to kick off, to just put to bed all the nonsense that's been aired since Monday's firing of the former manager / coach. If you want to call him coach, you want to call him manager, whatever it was. I also was very impressed with the bravery and the confidence of the youngster Lacey when he came on. Right? So, yeah.
So those were some positives. Okay, nice. Born, talk to me. What were your takeaways from the game?
All right, pleasant good evening, everybody locked on. UFC Trinbago crew, Sahir, Chad. Pleasant good evening to you guys. Everybody locked on. Pleasant good evening. I don't want to say that I'm getting soft, but I think the positive I could look at is finally we have we saw a slight difference in the old MUFC that we used to. The play style was definitely different today. We actually looked very good in front of goal. I mean, defensively, there were too many mistakes that cost us the win, of course. But I don't want to be too critical out of just the first game of Amorim out. But I think we showed a little bit of improvement, although it's just a few days. But I think the team, they look a little more positive. The players the players' body language, their disposition, everything looks better, in my opinion. That's just my takeaway from today. And we hope going forward that we could only see improvements. And of course, the next big question is who gonna take over? So that's what my only concerns really. I didn't have any bad takeaways from today other than we weren't able to snatch the win. I didn't have any bad takeaways from today other than that.
You were talking about Amorim a little bit there, so let's jump straight into that. What are your thoughts on Amorim, his tenure at United?
I think it's a kind of good and a bad. At the same time, I didn't agree with a lot of the formations and the play style that he was trying to bring. But at the same time, too, as the manager, you're supposed to give him that leeway to run a team the way that he supposed to. And I think that the board, as usual, weren't supportive of him and his players that he wanted and his play style and whatever. And we were a little too critical to rush to maybe letting him go too soon. But at the same time, there's some takeaway. There's always say, you gotta give some, you gotta give back something. He didn't really try to adjust to, okay, these are the players that I have, and I'm going to try and work with these players that I have, rather than using the players that he has and forcing them into roles that they weren't comfortable with. And you saw that in every week. So I
Are
think
you
is
are you are you sad to see him go or happy?
as I say, I have mixed emotions about it because I start to see him go because I think that he had so much potential, and had he gotten the support, or the time to settle in, and then we gave, like for example, we gave several coaches over a year, like Ole got time and so on and so on. I mean, a year and or 2 years is still not enough time, but understand my point. Like he didn't get enough time to really settle in and run the football how he wants to. So you can't really be too critical of his performance because it's always gonna be a what if kind of situation. So
I hear
is a bittersweet. Is a sad to see him go, but I kind of happy to see him go at the same time because at the end of the day, I looking out for the betterment of my team and my players. And now we have so many young talents that did not get the chance to shine, under him, like Kobe Minu and a host of other Durugu. We have a host of other players that did not get their chance to shine, and is basically because the play style that he is injected into the team is not agreeing with the players.
Zaire, what are
All
your,
right.
your thoughts on Amorim? Are you happy
I
to see him
hear
go?
I hear one's points, right? I take the points of everyone who wants to complain about his stubbornness, his rigidity, his
Mhm.
unwillingness to change certain things. My question is this: didn't they know that when they went and
Mm-hmm.
convinced him to leave a team where everything he was doing was working in the middle
Mm-hmm.
of a season?
Mm-hmm.
When man asked
And
them to stay there until the season was done, and they tell him no, now or never. For you to tell a man now or never, that is to tell you how badly you wanted the man.
mm-hmm.
We say we give managers time. You want to know what's giving managers time? How long it took Sir Alex to win his first league title? About 6 years?
Yeah, about 5 6 years. Yeah,
That
About
was a
five, 6 years.
different that was a
yeah.
different time. So
No,
I just
no,
don't
no.
get that kind of time anymore.
This is
Mm-hmm.
what I consider time.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody, barring Sir Alex, has ever had time to build, win, get rid, rebuild, win. You understand where I'm going with this,
They
right?
always trying to get everything in one success. You can't do that.
We are on our 11th manager in the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
This is utterly ridiculous. We can't consider ourselves a well-run club if we are doing that. We are like a fet side where every year is the most popular man who going and run out leading the team. You understand? Well, who want to lead the team on this weekend, boy fellas? Right. The most sober man will run out leading the team. How do you want any person, whether you're calling them the manager, the coach, the what, to develop anything if we chopping and changing like this? Right? One. Two, the managers that won trophies post Sir Alex: Van Hal, Mourinho, Ten Hag, right? With Van Gaal and Mourinho, you can definitely say, it had no player power, you bigger than the manager nonsense with them two fellas. They've been there, and that man can't pull no shit on them. We agree on that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one could say that Pogba was very responsible for
Pogba is Pogba, right? We're talking about the players who try to exercise a certain amount of player power. The young ones.
Generally, your statement is correct. Go ahead.
Good. So they won trophies in spite of ownership. I will say that even Sir Alex was successful in spite of ownership because he had built a legacy of success. He built practically, you could say 95% of his reputation at Manchester. Because yes, he won with Aberdeen, he challenged his Scottish hierarchy, he broke that stranglehold they had, and then he came to Manchester, right? So if you give the Aberdeen thing even 10% of his resume, the rest of it is all Manchester United. So by the time Glazers take over and this man done build this, they can't, for want of a better term, play around with the man.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, they come and they met a well-oiled machine. They didn't have no work to do. They had a well-oiled machine as Alex Ferguson.
When he is gone, nobody else was given the chance to establish something like that. Because we, the fans, and I say we, the collective we, not the three of us sitting here alone, right, have been too damn impatient and too damn spoiled by what went on before these guys. And we clamor and we complain and we this and we that about attacking and style and beautiful and all of this, right? And when them fellas in the back know that to maintain their commercial success and be rated as the most valuable club in England, even though we have win a title in 13 years, partner, but we've been rated as the most valuable club in England, that's all they care about. That is all they care about. Look how many titles between City, Chelsea, and Liverpool have been won since Sir Alex left. All 10. Yeah? Nobody else win the league in them 10 years. But we boys okay to be the most valuable club. Right? I am sad to see him go because I really hope that under the guise of handling sporting affairs, Ineos would understand that the man needs time. But this, by and large, just came down to a man who is rich, considers himself part owner, and boy, you call me out, nah, I had to show you I go bust your throat. You had to walk. Right? Because it's a measuring contest with these men now, as we just say. So I gotta show you the baddest man. You are the rule.
I hear you, Zaire, I hear you. And I think most fans also feel, whether you agreed with Amorim's style or not, the reality is we know for a fact that his exit was due to more non-footballing reasons than footballing reasons.
Correct.
Right? And I think as a fan, whether you support the manager or not, you don't like to know that your manager is getting fired for things that are not concerning
nothing to do with his performance. Correct.
Yeah, that don't sit well with any fan. At least it shouldn't. Right? That shouldn't. But at the same time, we have to accept the fact that Amorim seemed clearly like he was tired. He was not feeling like he was supported. He wasn't feeling like he was being given what he needed. He was feeling like he was being dictated to. You can't bring me here. I tell you the kind of football I played. You tell me you're giving me support, and then you're sending me emails and telling me to change my formation. What is he doing, man? Right? I think Amorim pressed the self-destruct button, and he knew fully well, okay, I brought up at them in the meeting, they didn't say nothing. Let me go in the press conference
in the
and
media,
say, I'm sure I will get a move. I think it was a weight off his shoulders. He was aging under the job, as we have seen many managers age. Coaching Manchester United come like the US presidency. Mendes get gray hair instant. You understand? It physically changes people.
That is still man dotish instant.
So we could acknowledge that it's not all uncertain. Clearly, it reached a point where the manager wanted to leave. So my question, let me just read some comments and then we're gonna jump in to my question. Good afternoon to Martin Phillip on the inside. Good afternoon to Courtney and everybody who's watching. Like, subscribe to the channel. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. And let's check out this comment from Martin Phillip. How long will Fletcher stay as the interim manager? Well, Martin, as I said at the beginning of the program, based on this game today, I don't think he want to stay very long because he didn't impress me
Yeah,
at all.
you
He didn't
saw
impress
the
me at all.
little, you saw the little glimmers of hope.
Yeah, but against Burnley, you need to show more than glimmers against Burnley, considering that the next games is City and Arsenal, right? How
We
Well,
see the
long?
recent
The reason I ask,
presently.
best to get at least one of them.
Will the owners settle for less?
how long would you
That double-sided question he asked there.
the present United can still qualify for something in Europe? Will the owners settle for? Well, I- we're not even going to try to get into the mind of the ownership right now.
Yeah,
You
because
understand? Because
they clearly don't think with logic. They think with feelings, and that is what that the problem I had. Look, from the last time when they had Van Nistelrooy as interim manager, right? And I think we had the same discussion on the same forum about how do we think his first, because you only had like 2 games, right? And then when they brought in Amorim, right? Um, I thought Van Nistelrooy, and it's the same thing like today. You saw the morale and the overall motivation, the body language of the players improved because they and all were beginning to get frustrated with that formation. The same way we getting frustrated just watching the football and that kind of crap they're doing under the formation. Imagine them playing under a style, a formation, or even playing out of position. So you have to understand.
Jay, we would agree to disagree. The only players to me that had an extra pep in the step was Mino and Lacey and some of these guys. The regular starters,
Mm-hmm.
Bruno to me was posting through the first half. I know he now come back from injury, so maybe that is an excuse. But
I was
we
just going to say
but,
that.
but we know for a fact that Bruno and Amorim and his coaching staff were very close, whether it's just because they were Portuguese or what. I'm sure he's not
Mm-hmm.
happy that Amorim is
Mm-hmm.
gone. And most of the other starting 11, I'm not saying they were rebellious. I'm not saying they didn't play to win. I'm just saying the only players I saw that really came on the pitch and was really moving like, yeah, boy, let me do something here, was really excited about the moment with the young ones who wasn't getting sweat all the time. Everybody who was getting sweat all the time looked pretty much themselves or a little lesser than themselves to me. But we'll agree to disagree. I want to talk about Ole because all over the place, everybody is talking about Ole like if he is already in the door, like it's set and sealed, signed, contract delivered. You spoke, Zaire, about the fact that we haven't been given managers time. I personally believe it was the presence of Cristiano Ronaldo and unreasonable expectation by fans, right? Because the football was exciting. Ole had a winning record against Pep. He had a winning record against a lot of the top teams in the Premier League. He finished second. He finished third. So we were comfortably within
Lost the final on penalties.
European football. So I felt that Ole was unfairly dismissed. I was personally a little sad with Ole's departure. And you were saying that, managers were not given time. Even though he is really trying to come in for the interim position, just to hold the team down until the end of the season. How do you feel about the
Ole at the wheel.
possibility of Ole at Manchester United?
Bringing him back now is going to achieve exactly the same thing as when he came in as the interim manager the last time. You're going to get the Ole at the wheel bounce, the team going to rebound, right? Men going to rally, all of his former teammates who now call themselves pundits and like to open their mouth every chance they get to bad talk us more than good talk us will be, well, Ole is back, right? The players going to respond. We're going to go on the run. And who knows, by the end of the season, we may well find ourselves in European spots, perhaps even Champions League. And then what? You give him the job permanently again, the same I believe will happen. Yes, we might get back the exciting football. Yes, things will start to look good. But the minute them fellas and them on the outside don't like what they're seeing, they go start to bump the gum again. Then fans go get impatient if a trophy don't reach. and ownership go bossy throat again. So the man go be a fall guy a second time. So I don't know if he just going to take a nice little payout a second time and run through
Yeah,
soon.
well, really. He got a nice payout last time too.
Telling that, think how much money we've paid off in the last 10 years in compensation to managers. How much players that could have been, right? Anyhow, if you're bringing him back, you better had on be making the decision that you're going to keep him after the interim status, and he's going to get a certain length of time, right, to do how he needs to do the thing, right? Get the players he wants, and I
Yeah, but
agree. As much as I love Ronaldo, Chad, I was happy to see him back, right? Because I remember crying almost blood when the man left. It wasn't the right player for what Ole wanted to do, and at the right time, right? So that kind of shot Ole in the leg, right?
mm,
Look, Courtney saying about 100 million in payout money we
payout.
paid,
Yeah,
right? So we basically pay a Man City player price in 10
power
years.
manager.
Yeah.
No, but again,
So
Zaire, it boiling
like
back to the same.
I
It
taking
boiling
him
back
back
to the same problem.
only if they committed to giving him at least
And
4
that's
years.
what I'm saying. It always boiling back. How you think
Now,
these payouts
just,
are so much?
just not born. So let's just say the manager, I don't know this for a fact, but let's just say that the manager that the board really want to go for is Nagelsmann. And let's just say that Nagelsmann told them, as Amorim told them at the time, I'm not leaving my team mid-season. So really and truly, regardless of the performance of Ole, unless barring he goes and Arsenal, he does a madness and wins the league. Because I'm sorry, yeah, I don't care who win the league. It could be a ball boy win the league. You gotta get a man a second season, right? But barring that, and I don't think any of us expect that kind of run or that kind of, well, we're not
Mm,
expecting that kind of run. We all expect a demise from
a
Arsenal.
kind of
So
miracle.
there we go, but barring that, I think if it is, we look into go for our Nagelsmann, or we have a particular coach in mind that we're going for, um, and we can't get them until the summer. You all, you still wouldn't be comfortable with Ole Born? Talk to me.
No, I didn't have any problem with Ole. As Zaire said, when Ole was there, Ole did exactly what he came to do. He was a great interim manager. He brought us back from, you know, near almost sure relegation. And he brought us back from that to being a top four position. So I don't see why he can't do it twice, because I mean we actually have a better team than when he came in as the interim manager any last time. So I had no problem with Ole coming back at the wheel, because at this point in time it will be almost impossible to get a manager to leave their club. Basically half of the season, because we know in January. You still have another half of the year to go. So I wouldn't be upset if Ole comes back, because I didn't have a problem with him as a player, and I didn't have a problem with him as a manager, because the type of motivation that he brought to those players, our players, especially the younger ones who didn't have the opportunity to play with him, but they only saw, videos, or they probably were ball boys at the time when in the 90s, when Ole and they were, scoring all the late winners, as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was so famous for, all the late winners, all the super sub goals. So I think he will bring the motivation to the players. That wouldn't do nothing but positive. That wouldn't bring nothing but positive to the team, in my opinion. Because I can't see us bringing another manager that will be so easy to influence to come at our club at this point in time.
All right, fair enough. So I want to end off the program asking a very straightforward question. Can we, or what would you consider, what do you think would be us salvaging this season? What could we do to salvage this season? Do you think we could still finish in the top four? What do you all think would salvage Manchester United season at this point? And people in the comments, let us know what you all think could happen to salvage it. Because even though we sixth place, we still sixth time, because Chelsea lost. So they've been and can't remember who overtook their spot. So it's still have a team above us in fifth. We drew in sixth. City drew, Aston Villa drew, Chelsea lost,
Liverpool drew.
and Arsenal and Liverpool still have to play. They playing each other.
Mm.
So only one of them could win. So the bottom line is, as far as the top four race goes, we still ride it. Nothing has changed with this result, which is weird to say in the Premier League, but absolutely nothing has changed with this result. Us, if we
We're
had
just
won,
lucky.
something would have changed, but we
We
didn't
have been
win and we didn't lose. So we are in the exact same position. What is it that you think could really make a difference to salvage this season for United? Sorry,
nothing, nothing less than Europa League. I don't want to hear nothing about that Conference League nonsense, right? So nothing less than the Europa League, right?
Mm.
Because I honestly believe, yeah, it'd be nice to set up for it, but guys, when I look at this squad as it is right now, right? Look at the bench against Leeds when we had our main players missing. We can't go into Europe, into Champions League Europe with this squad.
Mhm.
We will
Agree.
get
I hope,
properly.
I hope the ownership knows that.
Well, this is what
Because
I'm saying. So
if we
if we
qualify,
salvage this season, if the Ole bounce takes us into the top four and we hit Europe and they don't reinforce this squad, we will get properly embarrassed in the Champions League. I could take a little thing in the Europa because the majority of the quality in the Europa
we could compete with.
we could compete with that even with this squad, right? So for
So
me, nothing less than Europa League.
bare minimum for you,
Bare minimum Europa League spot.
European football outside our conference league, because that is too low for us,
Correct.
would be a salvage season for you. Talk to me,
Yeah.
J-Bone.
Well, I actually believe we could make the top four, but as Zahir just said, I didn't even think about it like that. We will get properly embarrassed in Champions League, but it's
With
still
this team.
possible for us to make a top four because I don't see we sixth right now. I mean, as I say, if Ole comes in or if we get a proper, bounce back and we get propelled into a little, a run of form, yeah, we could make a top four. It's possible. So I actually would see that as salvaging the season because I don't really want to see us back in Europa League. However, I want to see us back in Champions League. And we always have the same problem when we get back into Champions League. We always have a discord with the ownership and the management. So I hope me personally, how the only way I could see this season as being salvaged, we make Champions League and we get a proper manager that the board has no issue with, which will probably be impossible. But I could be, I being wishful, I'm doing wishful thinking. Yeah, it's impossible, but I had to be wishful. That's the way the only thing I could see salvage in this season because how many times we would just keep qualifying for Europa League, getting knocked out, qualifying for Europa League, making it to finals, losing to Tottenham.
The only way
That
they
just
go have a
created the
problem
same issue.
it's better so Jim say he go in and manage the damn side and then the board mightn't be able to have no problem with him.
Something what as somebody was saying the other day in the group, let Trump like he want to take over United right now. So we should give Trump a chance. I mean, he pulling off some impossible kind of missions, so he
Make
might be able
United
to do it.
great again. I
Yeah,
could get
yeah,
behind
he
that
will do
100%.
that. He will make United great again.
So you're gonna
So,
go Old Trafford and stand up and when Old Glory being lifted and sing America the Great and who say can you see that the
If it
Dons
means
is
that we're gonna win another league, Zahir, yes, I will sing the American anthem without question.
so
the only
my,
the only American owners I want is Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney.
well, it's not about what we want right now, yes, because we have
Yeah.
American. We don't have a choice in the matter. Where
Mhm.
ownership is concerned. So for me, how finishing in European places is one definitely one thing that will salvage our season. And people talk about winning a trophy. At this stage, in this chaos, if we win a FA Cup, that is not even that come like when Van Gaal win the FA Cup and get fired the same day. Literally, right after the game while he was collecting his medal, all the news was being broken that Jose Mourinho will be the next coach of Manchester United. So
Mhm.
winning an FA Cup would be nice for the trophy cabinet. But as far as the long-standing health of the club, winning a trophy
Mhm.
right now means nothing.
Yeah, correct. That is
Unless
my
it's
issue with that.
unless it's the league, right? So whether we win
Mhm.
something or not is that though to me that ain't salvaging
That ain't
nothing.
changing nothing. That's not changing
Right?
nothing.
So forget about the FA Cup. Finishing in the top five, that is one. And two, um locking down a solid manager. Locking
Mhm.
down a solid manager. One of the things that is difficult that people don't really think about is that yes, managers like players love the idea of coaching Manchester United. But when you see people, because Amorim is considered a good coach,
Mhm.
you understand? When you look at what's the name of the German coach again? That we have
Or
say
Ragnick?
Ragnick, sorry, his name
Oh.
slipped me. When you look at the success Ragnick has had with Austria after he left us, and even before that, his resume was so influential on Klopp and others. Clearly, we have had some very good managers.
Yeah.
We have had some good managers, and they have been let go sometimes for
E-
frivolness, real poor.
emotions.
And I think
Emotions.
what that does is after a while, really talented managers are going to be like, I would love to coach Manchester United, but not under that. Not in that, not in that
Mhm.
structure. So we are also so Jim have to be careful because it's going to become more difficult over time to attract the kind of talents that could really make a difference on the pitch if we
Mhm.
keep doing this rotishness we doing off the pitch. But definitely a top five
United,
finish,
where managerial careers go to die.
all right? And and I agree with both of you all. I think a top five finish is well within our reach for two
Mhm.
reasons. One, I think we have a squad good enough to finish in the top five. And
Mhm.
two, everybody else besides Arsenal seem more than willing to drop points. You understand what I'm
Facts.
saying? Nobody ain't
Facts.
really on a run right now. City,
Mhm.
Chelsea, Liverpool,
Yeah.
everybody seems more
Everybody
than
at some point
willing.
they're going
And
down.
I
we
pin
all
in my
expect
I pin in my hopes and prayers on Villa, boy. Villa to
we,
get it because they cannot be Arsenal's here, boy.
we
No, it
all
was never
expect
there, yeah.
Arsenal at some point or the other to wear the bed as well. So, because of how turbulent the league is, I
Mhm.
think it will definitely give us a shot right through. That we will have an opportunity. There's no reason why Manchester United should not be playing European football next season.
You
And
know
we
what the
have a,
season reminded me, Chan? When
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 Leicester win the
um
league,
when Leicester won. This is exactly what was happening all this time of the year. Like everyone was dropping points, and it was like, I wonder if they could do it. So who knows? Maybe Aston Villa could do it. They could probably
They
do
had to
it.
do it. They had to do it, boy. They had to do it.
not if they play the way they played against Crystal Palace today. Um, President Chad, Zaire, J Bone, nice having everybody on. We are out. Remember, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Remember, Red Devils, we don't die.
We
We multiply.
multiply.
Good night, everybody.